trouble, sorrow, need, sickness, or any other adversity. Anya. Anya's not a real name. Why is it I feel betrayal if I utter that actual name? If I say outright that she was Stalin's daughter. Anyway, Anya and that prevalent phrase have blended in my head, along with the dull unease over mothers and their sons, about which, mothers and sons, no one comes near the truth. The dance of men and women, yes, hunting, merging, warring, splitting, hunting, merging, warring, hoping, while a mother stays last to her son for good, bound on a wheel of fire. Beyond that ritual expression, my first memory of Anya is spotty, fixed most potently in the image of her crumpled over her knees. Even the liturgical phrases have undergone expansion, muddled with the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. Let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings. Oh, never mind. That first Sunday, Anya was a row in front of me, huddled in a pew across the aisle. She was coiled so low, I saw her as a ball of half-tamed orange hair. She had that way, keeping her eyes downcast, curling herself tight, rounding her arms across her chest as if she'd melt into art walls. We'd gotten to know quite famous people in our wanderings, we being Adrian and I, Adrian, my Episcopal priest of a husband, who that Sunday was intoning from the sanctuary. Anya was the closest we had come to the dark well springs of history, and every "Come unto me, all ye that travail and are heavy laden," I busied myself filtering through the coils of Anya's story. I'd read her 20 letters to a friend. I assumed some insight into her Russian Dostoevskian character. Couldn't imagine her a passive victim of history. And history, as far as I knew, was itself her father, her own papa, who built the gulag for his empire, but drew the line at laying his hand on his own motherless daughter. Anya had emerged as a drawer, as a dreamer, and a terrier both. She was gifted with the brilliance to interpret, the cunning to survive, and the passion to howl, why, and risk it all on one spin of the wheel. I lost sight of Anya coming out of that service. She managed to slide out under a crowd, and when I reached the open air, the woods across the drive, it seemed, had turned a filmy white, erupting dogwood blossoms. The members of the choir were peeling off their robes, while still, in high springtime spirits, they kept right on singing, "Bow thy meek head to mortal pain, then take, O God, thy power and reign." Anya had claimed her little Dushka from the nursery. Anya not only had brought forth a brand new American girl child to ease the loss of the Russian son, she'd managed already to elude the American husband-father. Now her bouncy 2-year-old was galloping across the thick new green, her brown curls flopping, her yellow dress billowing. The child was flapping a dogwood branch and laughing at escaping her mother. I stood watching, breathing in the sweet of new-cut grass, taking in Adrian, draped in white across the river of sunshine. He was leaning over, listening to Anya. I registered. Anya wants a new world home with the gentler safety of a priest. Already I knew. Long before this, she had searched out a priest in Moscow, been baptized surreptitiously, and now, turning to a Protestant, she was evading her expected expatriate family, the Russian Orthodox, who used her for their politics, she said. Anya intended to survive. Anya intended to blend into mundane suburban America, raise a mundane American offspring with the help of a mundane Protestant church. And I surmised that I, the humdrum wife of the local humdrum priest, would get to know her well. It happened quickly. Like all things happened quickly when Anya made up her mind. It was scarcely 3 weeks later, after I'd gone through a back operation, that Anya took me into her home. I must recuperate in peace, she said, away from my son and daughters and husband for a week or so. I must have my breakfast in bed, she said, and she was the one to bring it to me. So it was. I ate her cornflakes and sticky buns and bacon and eggs and even her waffles and pancakes, not the kefir I was curious about. And after breakfast, I hobbled into her kitchen and watched her scrub her white gold patterned linoleum, already gleaming before she started with mops and sprays. Little Dushka, which meant little darling, was taken up that morning with the women next door, and Anya's occupation in the child's absence left me wondering. An obsession with this spotlessness was not my image of a Russian, unless it could mean the taking on of penance. Parentheses, not, I guessed already, a far-fetched explanation. I'd heard her the woman she took for Anastasia on Long Island. She'd seen the princess on hands and knees scrubbing tubs and toilets. Yeah. And just as vaguely disquieting in that kitchen, there was not a Slavic object or a reminder of a Slavic object in the overstocked, gadget-crammed room. I'd never come across boiling water straight from a special faucet, nor had I laid eyes on an electric garlic press or a 20-part food processor. How, I sputtered, had she ever discovered such objects? Television, she said. And yes, the woman in Macy's advised her a bit. She didn't mean to be different, she meant to get things right, master the American ways. One of those days, when she hadn't heard me get out of bed, I caught a glimpse of her through a crack in the door, and it seemed to me I looked on desperation. She wasn't moving, but you could not call her resting. She was perched on a stool in the middle of the kitchen, her mop tossed down, her back erect, stilted, gripping her automated eggplant peeler as if she had to fit like a robot in the tin bright sheen of this kitchen. She stared out the window in anxiety and hopelessness. So weary with faking she belonged with gadgets, it was clear she wouldn't survive them. I felt helpless. I pictured the son in Moscow, Theodore. She brought him up so frequently in talk, I'd formed a picture of him, tall, dark-eyed, with high cheekbones like Anya's. I saw him leaning on the table in their Moscow flat, where people, not gadgets, took up the room. Herself and Theodore writ large, the two of them working and drinking and laughing and crying around the kitchen table, while somewhere off in the shadows flitted Theodore's young wife and child. And still further off, Anya's 16-year-old daughter went her independent way. The two ex-husbands, the fathers of her children, found living space of their own. This spot belonged to Anya. What now? What in the name of the twisting corridors of history was Anya doing here, clinging to an eggplant peeler in a sterilized East Coast suburb? I had a meek prescription for Anya, which was all that I possessed. We should sit down upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings, though I didn't quite put it that way. Lacking a Theodore, I determined that Anya needed more Russianness, whether she admitted it or not. That meant vodka, to which she had no objection. It meant wrangles over books, over art and love and death and passion and God and suffering, above all suffering, fierce and penitential suffering, and all at a round wooden table in the middle of a sweet chaos. Sometimes maybe with a lace tablecloth. Already we communed a bit along such lines as those. We devoured Berdiaev and Simone Weil and the journals of Kierkegaard. Dostoevsky was her favorite writer, while Chekhov was mine. But I did want Anya's view on Russian lit, what with her friends like Edmund Wilson and Sir Isaiah Berlin, and, I'd learned dramatically in time, the prophetic director of the Academy.